Hey folks, I think I'm live. Let me put my book cover here for you to entertain you while we do my loading screen stuff. So I'm going to check to see if we are live. My hair is wilted today. Let's see. There it is. Okay, cool. So sound should be coming through. Microphone's a little far away. Let's bring that in so it's more audible. A little far away. Let's bring that in. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, cool. So we're going to do some artwork here for an hour or so today. I'm going to quickly grab up these links here and post them online. Let's go with there, and then boop, I'm having a rough start this evening. Don't mind me. So hit the button, and then here, and then we'll drop down into my creating massive. Let's see. What are we doing today? We are going to let's see, creating, building a fleet battle encounter, a fleet battle using the ship mechanics in Spelljammer combat and exploration. So let me go ahead and copy paste that. Hey, Rel, how you doing? I'm having a disjointed morning. Don't mind me. So yeah, my name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish online, and I've been a DM since 1987, and I've been let's see. I've been building product for 5th edition on DMsGuild since 2017. We recently, in March, published the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document. It's on DMsGuild right now for you guys. It creates alternate mechanics for Spelljammer in 5e for combat, exploration, spell casting, wild system creation, scaling combat system from the 5-foot scale to the 10,000 mile scale, and let's see. Almost done pressing buttons. There's a full conversion guide for Light as Araxis using all the mechanics in the book, including fleet and fighter ship, squadron, dogfighting mechanics, and it works pretty damn well. So right now we are creating. Let's see. Let's dip this out of the way. And so we created this book cover that was way back, like in episode 15, I think, of this stream. We're currently up to episode 385. So all the Spelljammer stuff that we've created since August 2022 is in this playlist. Just takes a while to get through it. Let's see. All the episodes are here. The book that we created is here. And then you can join my Discord community and all the other stuff down here. Like, subscribe, bell icon, notifications, and thanks for more subscribers today. I am honored. I am on the X Twitter platform at Phil Kearney, and let's get working. So this book cover, here we go, and then get that out of the way. We are creating ship tokens and environment maps. As detailed, let's get this on top up here. So this is the illustration from Light as Araxis, published by Wizards of the Coast, that went along with the Wizards Spelljammer set for 5e. And so this is a moon with basically a poisonous atmosphere that this base hovers over. And so we extracted colors from the clouds here to create the battle map environment that we have. But I'm finding that I don't like how deep the dark stuff here is in contrast to the ships that are on the battle grid. So I need to lighten the whole thing. So I'm gonna jump into here. We're gonna peel this open. Blue high, deeper green. Let's see what happens if I drop a layer in between these. I think I want to grab this. Like that. Do you have any other plans or ideas for bigger ships? Oh yeah. Hey, how you doing? Obviously we've been building Vocath Battle Crab, which is at the 500-foot scale, or it's a 500-foot ship. These are 50-foot squares. We have the star moths here that you can see proportionately. A star moth is a 200-foot ship, so you can see that it fits inside of a 200-foot square block and 50-foot grid. That's a 4x4 space, kind of like a gargantuan creature, right? But Vocath's base turns into a massive 500-foot crab. So this thing is just colossal compared to the star moths against it. There's 16 star moths. There's Vocath's crab, and then there's all the allied ships that were at Vocath's base before the elves attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 ships here. We have the Vocath's tank here against... it's supposed to be 12. That's right. 12 ships. And the Light of Zaraxis, 12 ships arrive. And let's see. Right, other ships. I'm going to build at the same 500 feet is the largest scale of ship that can be piloted by a single spelljamming helm. You can link together multiple spelljamming helms. You just need one for each 500 feet. So scaling, like a 2x2 space needs 2 of them. A 3x3 space at the 500-foot scale needs 3 of them. So like a 3x3 9 squares, 3 spelljamming helms somewhere aboard that structure will be able to provide enough oomph to be able to lift that 3x3 structure. But a single helm is here. That's what you call a series helm. And so everyone has to focus their concentration on simply maintaining connection with the person that's actually the pilot. So it's kind of like having multiple we can already have multiple co-pilots in this system, but that is by having multiple characters within reach or occupying space with the spelljamming helm. But and then so each person can contribute their own action economy towards the success of the team. Like I could use my object interaction, and the other character, my co-pilot, can use their object interaction. I can use my standard actions and bonus action, and they can use their standard action and bonus action. But whoever's pilot last that has command of the ship is the one that makes reactions with the ship. So typically you want to end the round, but you can do them in tandem. Like I could do action, you could do action, we could use object interaction, you could use our bonus action while I'm making some attacks. So we can blend our action economy together to work as a team. So that, or we can weight our own initiatives because we might be sequencing something with other ships. So we have the flexibility of group initiative versus individual initiative. Roll your individual initiative and then apply your initiative to your other teammates if you're combining your action as like co-commanders or co-pilots in a circumstance. But this should be light enough. So 500-foot scale. If you link together multiple helms, you can do that same thing with a larger ship. You just have to coordinate. The only thing that those other helm pilots can do is focus concentration on the single pilot. It just takes too much. So it's not ideal. So that's why we generally stay at the 500-foot scale or smaller. So other ships we're going to build. We're going to build an ogre mammoth. Here, I'll take you on a quick tour. Let's go Spelljammer mammoth ship. This is the mammoth. That's not a good drawing of it. Here, let's just go jump into the images. There you go. This is the ogre mammoth. Open link, new page. Where'd you go, buddy? Fucking lame. There. So it's basically like a giant mastodon head that's essentially a hockey puck. Right? It's like a curling stone in the shape of an elephant. This is a massive piercing and bludgeoning ram. It's got multiple siege weapons on its back. Its underbelly has also has siege weapons and a loading bay, so you can put small little 15-foot goblin arrow fighter craft inside of the belly of this. But when we rebuild this, it'll use this general shape, but it'll also be at the 500-foot scale. So it'll be like 500 feet length and like probably 300 feet wide, like 6 squares by 10 squares. That feels about right. 10. This is actually probably about 4 squares wide. So it'd be like, yeah, probably 5 squares-ish. We'll fudge it 5 by 10, but it still occupies a 10 by 10 space because of its length. So, but this would be the ogre. It would have at least, we'll probably have 3 or 4 floors on it. The next thing that I want to build is the Spelljammer Armada. The Armada ship. I should know better. I should go look at images. Hopefully this isn't boring to you, but holy fuck, look at this monster. God, such a fucking gorgeous ship. Just a massive, it's a 500-foot wingspan butterfly. So it's about 200 feet here in the central structure. It goes all the way down. So that's basically a 150-foot castle that's sitting on the shoulders of this thing. And these are all flitters. So these little flitter fighter craft, they're what are they, 10 feet? Yeah, these are 10-foot fighter craft. And this thing can pack 100 of these on there. So when an Elven Armada shows up, it too would fully occupy this space. Like the wings will dip in like this, but it's mostly filling the entire space with basically landing pad. So, and then you have the giant castle on the front of its prow here, and then it tapers off into interior space. It has like 6 levels to it. So it's going to be as big of a build as creating this was, which means it's probably going to be about 20 some odd episodes to build it. But it is a carrier command ship, and oh my god, I love the Armadas. Those are so fucking cool. God, what a beast. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a, like, it's going to have like a third ranked team on them. So like everything's going to be lobbing D10s. It's large enough that it can flood you with fighter ships. So you can have multiple squadrons attacking your single ship on top of the siege weapon barrage that this thing can punch out. So it's a monster, just a monster. I want to do that. Also do Spelljammer, Theurgy, Mind Spider. There is a rumor that when they made this, they missized how big this thing is. They made it like the third of the size of the giant black death spider, but this thing is actually supposed to be huge. So let me open image in a new tab. See, it has an entire castle on its back. So this is also a 500-foot structure. So this would be like that abdomen there would be about the size of this. So like it's backwards, right? It'd spindle off into the head. So like this would be the body. It would spindle off here, and then it would have the 8 long limbs that would just basically be stretched around the structure. Then we just put the giant castle here, but that's a Theurgy flagship. Also a 500-foot space that it occupies. And then the other thing I want to do is Spelljammer Dwarven Citadel. Again, this occupies a 500-foot space. So open link, next tab here. Come on, Kearney, you know better than that. Open image in the next tab. Thank you. So yeah, it's just a mountain with a castle on it, right? So obviously, I'm going to fill the entire 500-foot space with just a giant asteroid that's been carved in the shape of whatever menacing monstrosity they want to do with. And it's just a giant battering ram. So it just crushes things when it hits it. And if it doesn't crush whatever immediately gets hit, it has all these towers can be bristling with siege weapons. I can have siege weapons built into the side of the mountain in little gun pods, so that you can zoom in to like a 10 by 10 space for a little gun pod area, like how they in the side of the Rock of Brawl they have turret stations with cannons and ballistas. Same thing here, and then it's just awesome. It's fucking awesome. So all those, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different things. I also want to do an Aboleth Kuatoa ship, like a giant catfish that's in a sphere of water that the Aboleth commands on the helm by basically sliding into a larger mecha form of its own body, a catfish. and it'll have landing ports. It'll have a school of scaver sharks, Kuatoa riding the scaver sharks as squadrons to attack ships instead of being like little 10 by 10 foot fighter craft. Instead, it's a scaver, like a 10 foot, 15 foot, or 20 foot scaver with Kuatoa on the back. And then you've got the actual giant catfish. And then it could also have little aboleth spawns. Can have individual like 50-foot scale little like squiddling fighter craft to go along with it. I don't know about that, but definitely the scavers and the catfish structure itself, and then have a temple to the aboleth built into the aboleth ship. That's my own idea, but I love Kuatoa and aboleth working together. I just think it makes so much sense. So those are the things that I'm planning on doing. Tactical mustache. Nice. So yeah. Okay, so what are we doing right now? We are resolving the battle map, making sure it's light enough. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was dropping these in to make sure that... See, now Vocath has really great visibility on the map. And the star moths, also really good visibility. So, yeah, this was the right choice. And it's obviously not nearly as lush as it is without the skin, but to me, since I don't see color and I'm only working on contrast, it's the amount of depth in these shadow pocket areas are aligning on a grayscale too much with the star moths and the highlight portions of the crab's metal. That doesn't jive well for me. And how light the clouds will be, although there's a lot of white sails going on here. When we drop the skin in, the whole of the ship pops out. So this all looks really good to me. If I can see it, I know you can see it. So I'm always working on my own visibility, right? So here's the thing. When we are at the 500-foot scale of combat, Vocath's crab is this big. Because it sits inside of a single 500-foot space. So I do not need this much map. I only really need probably a 20 by 20 square area. So I'm going to grab the grid and build that out. Just duplicate the grid and tile it properly. So let's see. What's the resolution on this image? It should be 100. Resolution should be 100, and it's not. The resolution is 300. Okay, well, whatever. When it's 300, it's easy. But let's zoom in here. I'm going to grab a square real quick here to make sure I know where I'm at with what I'm doing. Give me a square. Thank you. $100 pixels, huh? Okay, so I'm on a 300 DPI and I'm using 100 pixel, using 100 pixel squares. That's fine. Let's go back to grid copy. There we go. All right, we're just sorting. We're getting ourselves organized here. Hey, right on, man. Well, thanks for swinging by. I really appreciate you. So when the square is 100 pixels, like 100 pixels per square, I can easily tile them because this becomes a 2 by 2 pixel space. So the grid lines up perfectly. We're good to go. Duplicate this. I'm going to conceal that group. I'm going to merge this group. And then we're going to grab both of these And we're going to duplicate these layers. Hey, what's up? You don't owe me anything, my dude. Yeah, it's a volunteer army, my man. Push this up. Did I do that perfectly? Oh my god, I did that perfectly. Wow, okay, well, yeah, I didn't expect that. Cool, that worked out. Let's see. So that is a 20 by 20 grid area. So I can snap the grid shut. Grid. I'm going to duplicate the battle map. I'm really looking forward to revisiting the monk tomorrow and the martial power development. I think what I'm really excited about is launching another playtest. That's going to be fucking fun. Peel that open. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, good. Drop that away. Let's see. I wanted to take the battle map and reduce it for transform. Let's try that again. There we go. Let's see, star moths. Get you organized. So when we're doing a fleet of same-sized ships, we can just have it represent, we just have one ship representing the squadron. So we zoom in like this and then fit it to size. So this is the 500-foot scale. And even like in a dungeon map, even though a pixie is like only 2 feet tall, when you're looking at an icon, most likely when you're looking at an icon or a token of that pixie in the 5-foot square, the picture is going to fill the 1 inch space. You're going to make use of the inch square space you have. You're not going to just make like a 5 pixel wide pixie. You're going to make a drawing of a pixie that fills the space, right? Because it looks good. So we do the same thing with these ships, even though this is only a 200-foot ship. We have it occupy the full 500-foot space because it's the space that the squadron occupies. If it was a mixed squadron like our team over here is mixed squadrons, then we would potentially replace them with a token like A, B, C, and D, knowing that this is A, B, C, and D, and then Vocath's crab is as Vocath's crab is. But we could also like decide which of these ships do we think is the coolest, and then make that ship represent each of the squadrons that they're joined to. So well, that's the process that we're going through right now. So we've got this one, and we know we need a total of duplicates. We only need 3 of these because there's only 12 ships total, and there's 3 star moths per squadron. So there's our enemies. Star moths. Allies. So when we build a squadron of ships, we want to keep the total area of a squadron to... we determine the size of the squadron by how many spaces they occupy. So when we're here at the 50-foot scale, a galleon is 130 feet long, right? So it basically fits inside of this 3x3 space at the 50-foot scale. So this is a 3x3. It's 3 squares. That's not the living ship is 2. So let's fix this real quick. So living ship is 2. Hold on, we're mathing it out here. Living ship is 2. A galleon is 3. There's a second galleon. Scorpion ship is 2. I don't know why I wrote 4. A wasp, see, it fits inside a 3x3 space, so a wasp is 3. The lamprey is oh yeah, it's actually 3. The dragonfly is 2, and the shrike is 3. So we have 9. What is that? That's 10, and that's 11. And then the Vocath's ship is 10 by itself. So hey, what's up? What is one change about gaming culture that happened over the years that you like, and one that you didn't like? I won't be able to think about that until I start doing art. I'm grinding through the math on how to build these things for the moment. So I will have to answer your question when I have a moment. I want to figure out how I want to organize these things. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if I did? Okay, so the dragonfly is optional because that's Vocath's escape ship. So it actually would make sense that Vocath doesn't offer up the Devil's Deal for use in combat. I don't think he would do that. Devil's Deal. So we're going to drop him out. I'm going to open up all these allied tokens here. Yeah, that says prior. And what's going on in here? What are you all about? Okay. So let's see. Yeesh, 7 ships. That's kind of clunky, huh? Oh, did it? Yeah. I see now why having an extra ship would be helpful. How do I want to break these down? 8, 6, and 6. We know that, so we know that the star moths, there's 12 star moths. So 12 times 4 equals, you've got 48 squares worth of fleet. And we've got 2, 3, that's 10, 19, Jesus, 29. Allies equals 29. Whew, wow, that is offsides. So if we had only 8 times 4 would be 32. So okay, so we don't have to destroy all the star maws to be able to win the day. We have to defeat 2 of them. So we have to defeat 32 square worth of, or basically 3,200 hit points of enemy ships before they destroy our 2,900. However many ships are left intact when the elves retreat after losing 2/3 of their forces, whoever's ship survived, you automatically win them as allies. Anyone that lost a ship, you owe them a ship and some extra kudos that the game has described in that part of the adventure of Light as Araxis. You have to provide them those extra benefits for them to get over the replacement ship. So this is going to be a rough battle, but I'm liking this. So we need to have. How do we organize this? What we're going to do? We're going to do 2, 2. I'm going to double check my references there real quick. Make sure I'm right about the sizes on the Shrike and the Lamprey. So let's go to Mega Kraken. We'll go to Spelljammer. We'll go to Final. We'll open up the book. And then we want to go back to the front of combat. There we go. Lamprey 3x3. Shrike 3x3. Scorpion 2x2. Took the damsel fly off the board. Space Galleon 3x3. And the living ship is also 2x2. Okay, so yeah, don't need that. Thank you. 2, 2. Yeah, these numbers are right. So let's see. That's 5. That's 5. That's 9. 6. 6 and 6, 6 and 7. 6, 7, 6. 6, 7, 6, 10. That is 16, 16, 16. So the team, all the team really has to do is, well, they want to keep all of the ships. That's, whew, boy, that's gonna be a challenge. But hey, I mean, that's the numbers. So that's what we're dealing with. Okay, cool. So let's break our teams up into 6, 7, 6. We'll go. Yeah, that's how we should do this. Okay, so we have, let's see, which one is that? Okay, cool. So we're going to take the Last Breath, the vampirate ship that the team acquires in the second part. We're going to grab the Scorpion because it's the 2x2, and the living ship because that is the Second Breath, which is the ship that the characters have at the end of Act 1. And they pick up Starbow and Commander Crux and Mr. Finch, etc. That's a 2x2, and then you run into this to the vampirates, and if you do good for the vampirates, you end up getting them on board and becoming your ally. So you can have a second ship in your fleet, your growing fleet, and so that creates a 7 by that's 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. That is a 7 by 7 squad. 7 by 7, and these are all the ships on the that the players are occupying. So this squad is like their squadron, and then they're going to command remotely using command actions. They're going to use they can command these ships. This is a unit, this is a unit, and then this is a unit. So 1 2 3 squadrons, 4 squadrons with the players. So one character can be the pilot and commander for, like, if you have 4 people on your team, you could have one character, the pilot, be in command of your own squadron, and then another character can command this squadron, and then another character can command this squadron, and then another character can command Vocath ship. So 1 2 3 4. You got 5. We got 1 2 3. No, 1 2 3 4. 4 squadrons. Thank you. If you have 4 players at your table, each one is in command of one of them. Your goal is to drive off 2 squadrons of Star Moths without losing any ships. I think the playtesting may show that it can be done. The DM is going to have to basically split up who it's attacking. Like, one squadron specifically is going to have to be focusing on Vocath's crab to be meting out enough damage to drop it. Because if Vocath loses his ship, he's not helping you at all, and you lose his contribution, and you have to figure out how you're going to help all these other people get replacement ships. So that's going to be a real pain in the ass. So Vocath's ship is the most important ship. You don't want to lose him because he's holding the whole thing together. Everyone else, it's just the more their ship survives, the happier they are with you. So anyway, pontificating. 1 2, perfect. This will be a 6 by 6. Let's see, Shrike Galleon. This and this, 6 by 6. Wasp, Lamprey. We're organizing stuff today. The thing that's going for the team is that we have more action economy than they do. By having them break up their squadrons into 3 units, we're going to have 4 actions for every 3 of theirs. So even though theirs are going to hit hard, we've got a lot of hit points, so we can soak that stuff. This is 6, so this will have 1,200 hit points. Is that right? 600 hit points. It's 100 hit points per square occupied space. So 1 2 3 300, 4 5 6 600. There you go. Three, 600, 66 times 10 per attack, with a reload score of 4. So it'll be, when your characters are doing this, they're going to be rolling d6s. So they can do 66 times 10 damage every time this squadron hits, or this squadron hits. This squadron is a 7 by 7. So I'm going to grab that real quick here, open that up. Let's duplicate that. Take that up here. Let's get this squad organized. Here. And here. Thank you, Timer. that, and then here. Do, 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 do. There we go. Yep, yep. There, perfect. And then let's build 7x7 over here. That's 2, 3, and 2. 700. It's 7d6 times 10 with a reload score of 5. It's the number of squares minus the rank of the crew. So this is a 2x2 space. This is a 2x2 space. It's 4 plus 3x3 space. That's a 7x7 space. 1, 2. Yeah, it's 100 hit points per. My brain is melting. Sorry. 4x4 is 200 feet. 400. Yeah, it's 100. Okay, thank you. Sometimes I space out. It's 100 hit points per 50-foot square occupied space. So 1, 2 is 200. 3, 4, 400. 1, 2, 3, 700 total. It's total number of squares, which is 7, minus the rank of the team of the crew, which is second rank. So it's rank minus, it's 7 minus rank of 2 equals a reload score of 5. The reload score, but we're throwing d6s. So you have to roll a 5 or a 6 on a d6 for this team to, for this squad to reload. On this and this squadron over here, you're rolling a d6. So a 4, 5, or 6, 50% chance. And then Vocath's crab is sporting 10 squares minus second rank. So he has a reload score of 8. So you can only, and you're only rolling d6s at 5th through 8th level. So when your characters are doing this, they're probably going to be 7th level. They're going to be rolling d6s. So it's impossible for you to have Vocath's trebuchets fire automatically reload. It takes more time than that, so you're gonna have to burn extra action economy to re-equip the weapons. But when you do hit with it, it's 10d 8 times 10 damage per hit. So it's a lot of, or basically a d8 times 100 if you'd rather do it that way. And again, each one of these Star Moth ships, they only have 400 hit points. So when Vocath hits with a barrage of trebuchet fire, it's probably going to destroy one ship every attack. So you attack once, you're going to burn your bonus action to reload, and then you're going to attack again, and then you're going to use your reaction to reload, and then you're set to be able to fire again twice next turn. So every round, Vocath's crab in ranged combat can basically destroy a Star Moth. It's got like a 50% chance. An average hit will destroy a Star Moth. So on average, it'll destroy one Star Moth every round, every time it attacks. So that alone is going to help really reduce the amount of damage these things take. This is going to be 420 maximum damage per attack. And again, each Star Moth has 400 hit points, so it's probably going to take 2 attacks, which you'll have 2 attacks per round. You attack, bonus action reload, attack, reaction to reload. So next turn, attack, bonus action reload, attack, reaction reload, wait for the next turn. So you'll be able to knock out 1 Star Moth per round. So that's 1, and then 3 here. This one has a little less punch. It does up to 360 damage, and this does 360 damage. It'll probably have 2 attacks per round, so probably be able to knock out 1 Star Moth per round with this squad and with this squad. So 1, 2, 3, 5. You can take out 5 Star Moths per round. Now they're going to be able to punch back. Let me grab my bits. let's scoot some of my allies over, Shantai. Get out of the way. Boom! Get out of the way. And let's take these other ones and push them down a little bit. Give them some breathing room. Okay, so Starmoth Squadron. Allies, stitch them up. Vocath's Crab. Pull these down a little bit. Here's their 10 by 10 space that they occupy. So you only have 10 in a squad, right? So what we have is we have one squad here or here. I'm going to conceal these little ones. Thank you. This is one squad. It's an 8 by 8. It's a 4 by 4 plus 4 by 4 equals 8. You can't get more than 10. So that's an 8 squad, and that's an 8 squad. So technically there's 6 squads of 8 each. But we're having 2 squads in tight formation occupying the same 500-foot space. So these two can be operated together. It's going to be 8d6. Let's see. It'll do, let's math it out. One squad is 8d6 times 10, because all these are second rank creatures. All of these that are in command, they're all second rank. So it has 8d6 with a reload score of 6. Sorry, reload score of 6. So it's likely they'll be able to fire only twice. You'll pretty much count on them also only being able to fire twice per round. And then you have, this is also 8d6 times 10, reload 6. It's going to have 800 hit points here. And this is going to have 800 hit points. So it's 1,600 hit points total for the squadron. And it's going to be, it's not, it's a single attack roll. So it'd be 16d6 times 10. And the reload score would be 12. And if you fail the reload score here, we have to spend an action to reload this one, and we have to spend an action to reload this one, because these are technically separate squads. They're in tight formation, but when you're reloading, it's per squadron. So this squadron is less than 10, so that you only have to spend one action to reload all 3 of these ships when they're firing together. If these ships were firing individually, this one takes a shot, and I might have to spend an action to reload it. Then I command this one to fire, and I might have to reload that. And then I command this one to fire, and I also might have to make this one reload. But this is a 2x2. I only have to roll a 1 or above to command this Scorpion ship individually within the squadron. So I could fire that and it would automatically reload. I could fire this one, it'll automatically reload. I could fire this one, 3-2, automatically reload. So I could do 2d6 times 10, 3d6 times 10, and then 2d6 times 10. I can make 3 separate shots and be able to only fire, because I don't have enough action economy, I would only be able to have 2 of them make attacks, or I can have them all attack together for 7d6 damage, and then potentially fail the reload score of 5 or 6 on a 6-sided die. So that's how you're breaking up your action economy that way. But this is only one squadron. Since it's less than 10 squares, I can, if I make my attack roll and fail the die, I can have all 3 of them reload as part of the same reaction or bonus action. Up here, though, these are 2 squadrons that are in tight formation. Technically, they should be in separate 500-foot squares, but because we can fit them into the same 500-foot square, it's a way of minimizing the number of tokens that are on the battlefield at the 500-foot scale. So when this 16d6 times 10 attack hits, it has to reload, and then it can fire again. So elves, the elf commander have multi-attacks, so they get 2 attacks per round, but they don't have any bonus. They don't have a bonus action, so they can attack and then use an attack action to reload, and their reactions reload, and then that guy's done. So these can only fire once per round at 16d6, but there's 3 total. Now there's 3 of these there's 12 ships total, so there's 3 of them that fire separately, doing 16d6 times 10 damage each, with a reload score of 12 combined between the 2 of them. There you go. So these things can. So basically, there's 3 attacks per round that'll be dealing on average. What 16 times 3 is 48. On average, it'll be doing 500 points of damage. So this squad has 700 points. This squad has 600 points, and this squad has 600 points, and this one has 1,000. So, and then Vocath Crab has like its legs. It can sacrifice a leg or a claw to take damage for it instead of like the main structure being hit. It can have its limbs torn off. That's like a special boss fight feature for like Mega Kaiju robots that you can do. Instead of them taking damage, they just shed pieces of equipment or like shells, right? So that's one of the in-command system mechanics that you can use with when you have large grids of troops. You can peel off layers of troops as enemies crash into the force. Anyway, so yeah, we can sacrifice limbs and claws and stuff off of Vocath to increase the amount of damage that it can take. Let's see. So this is going to on average do, man, that's a lot of Mai Tai. So we're going to want to have a damage like Blade Ward. We'll want to have Blade Ward up. It'd be really useful if we had a Barbarian that was raging to be able to reduce damage that's incoming. That will potentially save ships. Warding Bond off of the Cleric, and anything that can provide temporary hit points to the Pilot will be useful. There's not a lot of damage you're going to be able to tank when hundreds of damage are coming in. But if you can cast Blade Ward on your ship, then you will take half damage whatever's coming in. Plus you have the dodge action that you can, or the defend action, to be able to dodge a volley of shots that are coming in. It'll eat your reaction, but if there's 4 squadrons and there's 3 squads that are attacking your squadrons, you can afford to burn your reaction each turn for the Pilot to try to dodge a shot. So let's go to our book, and let's go to the table of contents. Let's go to combat ship roles, and let's look at command options. Let's see, defend and deflect are pilot actions. Defend. You gain the following benefits until the beginning of your next turn. Increase the ship's armor class by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. Roll with advantage when you take the deflect reaction, and make dexterity and constitution saving throws for the ship. And taking damage for the ship doesn't disrupt your focus. So you're going to burn, as a pilot, you're going to burn your bonus action so that you can have defend active for your ship. When your fleet gets hit by an attack, you can then use deflect, which is a reaction. When the ship is hit by an attack, you can make a pilot check with a DC equal to the attack roll. Succeeding the check turns a hit into a miss. So if I can outroll your attack roll, I can make that attack, I can just dodge that. I can just juke that attack. So we can potentially nullify attacks that come in. The bad news is that we have to have the hit. When our squadron gets hit, we get to choose which ships take the damage. And the deflect and defend actions aren't normal things that a fleet can do, that a squadron can do, only individual ships. So when your squadron gets hit, you have to risk you taking the deflect action and perhaps the defend action with it, using your ship to draw fire for your squadron. So only your ship, only the ships that your characters are actually on, that are piloting can actually do that. So they would use their action economy, their object interaction to move the ship. That would leave an action open for attacks to be able to make attacks and reloads with volleys from the weapons. Then, because your ship is in that squadron, you can use the defend for your bonus action and then deflect for your reaction. So the team might want to be on board the Lamprey or on board the Shrike ship and have a character staying on board Vocath's ship to be able to assist in doing these things. So, or you can just hand wave that and allow them to use defend and deflect with their squadron. But normally, the mechanics are written that way to place a focus on your character's ship specifically being more important and special. So if you stick your nose out to take damage for your crew, it gives you a chance to try to draw that fire away. But it doesn't protect your ally. It doesn't protect your allies. So these two fleets, these two squadrons would be vulnerable. This squadron would be defended and deflecting, and then Vocath's crab has shields in the form of legs and claws that can break away to defend the ship from taking hits. Every time a volley comes in and hits, he can choose to lose a claw or a leg instead of taking damage to the ship itself. So when the damage comes in, if it's over 1,000 damage, he can make that decision at that point. Well, it could be 960 damage. It would be a perfect hit from this. And he could choose to have that damage instead destroy a leg, and he still has 1,000 hit points. So boss fight mechanics, basically. So it should be, so they should be able to destroy, they'll be able to do 500, at least 500, like on average 500 damage every time one of these squadrons, these tight formation squadrons hit. There's 3 of them. So assuming that one of them is going to hit Vocath, because let's be fair, because the Vocath will lose 1 leg per round while that's happening, another volley will probably target your ships, and then the third volley could be divided between 1 volley to this ship and then 1 volley to this ship. A D8 times 6 to this, which would be on average about 200 hit points, and then 1 volley to this, which would on average be around 200 hit points. So this team can take 3 rounds of volleys each. Your team, depending on whether you use deflect and defend or not, you'll be able to last potentially 6 rounds. Vocath's crab can last 6 or 8 rounds. So it only takes us about 4. What was it going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your squadron can tear down 5, like 1 squadron per round. So 1 round and then the second round. So you guys could potentially lose in a 2-round battle. You could potentially lose up to 3 or 4 ships. And it's a really short fight. It doesn't have to take more than 2 rounds, unless you want to get close and personal and fight things up close. In which case you would zoom into your squadron and their squadron specifically at the 50-foot scale, which is the next map that we're going to have to build. So I think we have, this is the 50. This is basically a. Let's. I'm content with all of that. So let's pull this together here. Devil's Deal goes up here. We don't need it. Allies. Let's conceal the stuff. Pull that down. There, conceal all that stuff. That's right. We wanted to do tokens, like mini tokens. So we need to have. We can use the. Yeah, we can use. Oh, instead of this being the vampire ship, you can have this be the vampire ship over here, so that your team could use deflect and defend on this squadron, and this ship would be the. The Hadozi ship, the Tarask. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. So what? We would go... That makes sense. Okay, so I get it. 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 I know how we're doing this. I'm going to duplicate this layer here. And I'm going to duplicate this layer here. And here. There we go. Oops, wrong one. Free transform. Let's right size that. I don't know how interesting this is. I'm in my own space today. I apologize for that, but I'm getting work done. This is work. So not as exciting as when I get to do artwork, because when I'm doing artwork, my brain is empty, right? I don't have to strategize or math stuff out or worry about stuff. I just let the pixels flow, and it's just relaxing and fun. So thanks a lot for folks that are just interested in the process and are cool to use this place as like a study hall. 1, 2. That's kind of the goal. Like I said, one of the reasons why I stream in the first place is because it's just the projects are, if I'm not on stream frequently, I can find ways to procrastinate and not get stuff done. This helps make sure I get something done every day, and that I stay motivated, because I'm always working on the next thing, and it's always moving forward. So here's the second wind. Here is the NPC 6x6 squadron, and here is the last breath, the 6x6 last breath, the 7x7 with the second wind, and then the NPC 6x6. So your team can be piloting here, and then commanding remotely here, and also be commanding remotely Vocath's crab. So let's rotate that here. And again, there's two ships here, there's 2 ships here, and there's 3 ships here. But because of token identity and being able to see, you generally choose either just a token that says like the letter A, like squadron A through L or whatever. Or you pick a distinct ship that will be recognizable to the team as a moniker to identify what it is if you want to have actual tokens. We could build squadron tokens with multiple ships, but they get so small that it's really kind of difficult to see what the hell's going on. But on a virtual tabletop, this is a decent size for grid combat. And obviously we don't need a lot of space, but if you're playing, if we're playing ranged attacks and we're maneuvering around, then our position at the 500-foot scale makes a lot of sense. If once we zoom into the 50-foot scale and we're engaging ships more directly, then we can just use a 20x20 space to demonstrate the separation between 2 squadrons. So we would be able to, on a separate map, be able to bounce back and forth between the 500-foot scale and the 50-foot scale. And if you really want to get up close and personal, zoom into the 5-foot scale on somebody's deck. Let's go to Tex. What's up? It's okay. Oh, thanks, Ralph. Thanks for hanging out, man. I hope you find this relaxing. Let's go with squad 500 foot. And then we got star moths. 1 through 3. Pick that up. Drop them in. 500 foot. No. Open it up. There we go. See, it's hard to tell with just a token how powerful it is. But when you zoom into the 50-foot scale, it's like, oh, Jesus, there's 4 of them packed in tight formation inside of that squadron. This is a really fucking tanky enemy. But again, once it gets whittled down to only 1 squadron left, that's Prince Zealous squad that's left. He's going to hang back as much as he can and just lob fire at a distance, while these squadrons are going to attempt to close distance and engage the team, like keep pace and pursue the squadrons to keep on top of them. Technically, since everyone is ranged attacks, you don't have to close or actually move at all to be able to make this thing work anyway. But having the option is fun. I'm also thinking about like having using some of these cloud banks as obstacles, like concealment, where you can hide inside. So when the elves show up, if one of the squadrons gets hit hard, you can dive into the cloud bank here, and you'll remain concealed until something else also enters that cloud bank with you. So we can extract these clouds and build little hazard tokens out of them, right? So we have environmental things that the team can interact with to give us a reason to have a battle map to maneuver around. If we build all these cloud obstacle terrain things, it can become like a paintball battlefield where you're taking shots and trying to conceal yourself from each other, and you can move forward and dive into a cloud bank, but you might find yourself face to face with, like right up against another squadron, and now you're going to zoom into the 50-foot scale because you got caught out and they caught up with you. Now they're zooming in to attack your ship specifically because they're entering your space. So that can get really dangerous, and it'll be really fun. I think it'd be a really fun cat and mouse game, like using your scanner to try to track ships, so you can see like which square are they inside of in here by making a scanning check. And if you succeed, it'd be at a disadvantage, but if you can succeed the scanning check, you'll be able to target them, or rather, you wouldn't be able to target them because the scanner won't be specific enough for you to be able to make a clean shot at them, but it does allow you to know exactly where in the cloud bank they are. So if you wanted to close distance with them quickly, you wouldn't overclock your movement and accidentally crash into them and potentially destroy each other. So that would be a benefit. If you can't track them, like if this is the cloud bank that they're inside of, here I'm going to get rid of that. And then let's go to our intrepid heroes. Intrepid heroes! Thank you. Like, for example, if the last breath dives off into a cloud bank to conceal your location so you don't have to take any hits right now. If this Star Moth wanted to close in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it could use a surge. It could surge, and hold on, let's look that up real quick. Ship combat maps. Here we go. Opening distance, closing distance, stationary targets versus moving targets. Surging, yeah. Surging is when you move. Like this is say this is a 500-foot scale map. You could surge at the scale of 1 mile, even though you're on a 500-foot scale map. So when you surge, you move as though you are moving on a 1 mile scale map instead of a 500-foot scale map. So every square that you move, every square of movement is 10 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can move up to 10 squares as only 1 square of movement. The only thing is that I have to call how many squares I'm going to move before I move it. So if I wanted to, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and end my normal object interaction steering of the ship to be just on the edge entering the cloud bank. I'd be able to see the ship, but I would have no idea potentially where that ship is. So if I had surged forward like 10 squares and I wanted to end up, say, here, I would have ran right through the ship to do that, and it would have caused collision damage, and everyone would have to make saving throws and take a shitload of damage. It would hurt a lot and potentially be destruction. So by using the orrery, here, you'd be able to, with disadvantage, be able to identify this is where the characters are hiding their fleet right now. So if I'm going to surge, I can, like, say, surge to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. So I could surge to here as one move, and then 2, 3, and then I could enter the space, and we could zoom in to the 500-foot scale, and now I can engage you basically in adjacent squares, because this is a 20 by 20 square space that these star mobs are sitting in at this larger scale. So I could put the mobs like here, and then I could put our ally squadron here. And this is the difference in battle that we're looking at right now. Holy shit, please don't find me. Like, that's a lot of firepower coming down on these two little ships. It's like they're gonna want to hide. So like the tanky Vocath ship and maybe your characters, if you can deflect and defend well. It's risky though, it's super fucking risky. But Vocath tanking right away against these things gives your team a chance to dash off into the clouds when the elves get there, and they start to close distance with Vocath. Vocath attacks, catching them by surprise, and then your team could dive in from the cloud banks and get a sneak attack on the ships as they're starting to encircle Vocath's base. So you're using him as bait because this is where they want to go anyway. This is where they think their destination is. When they get there, he unfurls his weapons and attacks, and then your team jumps out of the cloud bank and attacks them as well. So you get your surprise round to gain advantage in the initiative. And if you focus fire on one single squadron, you might knock out the enemy before, because again, your whole team, all of you together, can knock out potentially 5 ships per round. So if everyone focuses fire on the first round to knock out one of the squadrons right away, then you're only fighting 2 squadrons. Your team has 10 minutes to figure out tactics. This is definitely one of the suggested tactics. So we'll be building those concealment fog clouds on our next session. This session's almost over. I'm just basically braining stuff out right now and looking at the assets that we actually need. So if I make cloud banks out of this environment, I can justify this place being this large because it's going to let the team get angles around, and they can become a run and gun battle at different tiers inside of these different cloud structures. So that's the idea that's happening there. This 20 by 20 map is large enough that it can be used for the 50-foot scale as well. Again, if you're at the 50-foot scale like this, we could provide. This could be tiled. So like on a virtual tabletop, you have a 100 by 100 square grid area, or smaller if you don't need that much space. So we have the 20 by 20 for the 500-foot scale, and on a virtual tabletop, you can easily just have a 50 by 50. Like this is a 30 by 30 foot space here. So we could have that just as a single environment, or what you do is you take at the 50-foot scale. You just get like another 20 by 20 or a 30 by 30 grid, or you have separate 10 by 10 grids that you put your squadrons inside of, and then you measure out how much distance is between each squadron at the 500-foot scale, and then you just represent each of them in their own little 10 by 10 square spaces. That it doesn't matter if they're adjacent to each other until they're actually until their ships actually touch. You don't have to worry about them at the 50-foot scale at all. As soon as they touch, you only need a 10 by 20 inch space. So this 20 by 20 grid is perfectly sufficient, because we wouldn't need to be at this scale of combat until they're actually adjacent like this. So like this is the actual like distance and proportion you would be at. Otherwise, this squad of like 500-foot squad and this 500-foot squad will just use the 500-foot scale because it doesn't matter. You're not attacking. You can't attack individual ships inside of a squadron until you're literally adjacent to each other like this. Until you're actually zoomed into this point that you can commingle your ships with each other until they're adjacent with each other. Right? That's just one of the rules. That I can't single out this ship alone when we're 2,000 feet away from each other. You actually have to be adjacent to me at the 50-foot scale to be able to fire, to be able to choose which of these ships I'm going to attack, and for these guys, which of these 4 ships you want to attack. Does that make sense? So there's these little micro rules that exist inside of here to provide enough padding to protect ships at this squadron fleet level, but to also be able to forcibly zoom in to engage at the 5-foot scale with a sword in your hand if you want to, basically at any time, just by surging in to just land right on their doorstep, hit the brakes, and then jump on board their ship and then start fighting them, over the railing, and there you go. But it's completely up to you if you want to engage at that scale of combat, if that's the goal of your adventure. If your goal of your adventure, like if your primary goal is let's capture Zeleth and ransom him back to the Xeraxian Empire in exchange for saving our planet, that could be a viable solution. But he's going to, as soon as you start closing distance with him, he is going to run off into a bank and try to conceal his presence and then run away if he's the last squad left. So we're going to have to create the logic hierarchy and decision-making trees of how the combat breaks down, so the DM can get an understanding of how to use the environment and the threats that are in there, and like how many foes have the elves lost, when are they going to start to retreat and try to bail out of the battle. So that's stuff that we're going to go through, and we're going to hash all that stuff out here when we're doing design streams like this. So the 20 by 20 map we have is fine. Let's see how it looks without the screen. So we could do a 30. We could have the full 30 by 30, and it looks like the tokens are large enough that I'm not losing track of them in the background. So that's how we could different. We could use the same one, or we could do a zoomed in version of like what we could do. If we wanted, was take 10 by 10 blocks for each of these, and then zoom out and make a larger scale separate tile for each of them at the 50-foot scale. Oh boy, that would be a lot. But yeah, I could like break this into quarters, and then zoom out to a 30 by 30 space. So it'd be 60 by 60. I'd be fine with that. And then when we scale them out, like modify them, just like muck them up and like rebuild them a little bit so they look different. So it's not a direct representation on the same scale. I could do that. Or we could just leave it blank. Like blank white grid is easy and cheap way to do it, right? But we're selling our product here. So we gotta think about our maps. So I need cloud bank assets, and I want to have pretty little 20 by separate. I want to have more of these 20 by 20 grids, so that we can tile them for different battles that are being engaged at the 50-foot scale. So, but we're getting close. We're getting really, really close to this. I think I'm at a point where I can playtest this. I want to build the clouds first. So Monday when we come back, maybe I'll do this on Saturday. I don't know. Monday for sure. When we come back, we're going to build the cloud hazards, and then we'll be ready to do some playtesting. And so I'll have to recruit some folks. I'll need a team of 4, maybe 5, that want to spend maybe 2 hours messing around with this stuff. So I'll have to put out an invite, maybe a week from Monday. So that'll give me Monday and Friday next week to get my assets set up and to get a team on board. So Monday the 22nd. It won't be a really in-depth. It's just a play test. We're just doing some combat stuff. So it's just a battle. It could potentially be done in 2 rounds. It could take 10. However it is that combat goes. But I want to fuck around with it. If it goes really quick, I want to try a couple different permutations. And sometimes, they might want to close distance just out of variety's sake. So we might have a 50-foot scale thing going on as well. But with the size of Vocath's crab being a full 10 by 10 square, I think just having a slew of little 10 by 10s of these would probably be a good idea. So yeah, cloud hazards and some simplified 10 by 10 grids. That's what we'll have going on next session. I'm happy. This thing is really, really coming along, and so this could even with really a casual approach like this. After doing some play testing, we might have 2 days of play testing. If that's the case, then we would be done with play testing by the end of the month, and then we'll have to start working on the book cover. So when we're done with play testing, we'll be done with the assets. We'll be doing cover art. Once the cover art is done, then we can spend a little bit of time hashing out the text details. Once we get the details fettered out, I'll see if I can get an editor to jump on board and help me mash through the wording, and then we'll build all the assets into a PDF, slap the cover on it. If there's any gaps in text on the pages, we'll go about filling that stuff up, but we're going to have all the different layers of Vocath's crab as basically as a fortress map. So it'll be a nice little bundle of assets. Probably put it up for like $5, but then bundle it with the Spelljammer core mechanics book. Probably bundle it with that. Make this thing $2. So like $15, like $20, and then $5 here. That'd be $25 between the two of them, and then we bundle it. We drop the cost of the Spelljammer book to $15, and this to $2. So it dropped from 25 to 17. I think that's a 30% discount. Yeah, 68%. So it'd be 30. Yeah, it'd be basically 30% off. So that's a decent little coupon. And then we have all the asteroids that we built, and we can put that up for like $4, and then add it to this bundle for $1. So that'd be $29 dropped to $18. Let's see how that maths out. $62%. So that's nearly a 40% discount that way. The numbers are lying a little bit because I'm really overpricing, dropping cost on the asteroid assets. But that's an easy way for me to cheat stuff into a bundle to be able to create a good balance. And it's my stock art. Use it as you want. I also put it up on ttrpg as a separate asset for like $5. People will probably buy it. So yeah, that's a nice tight little bundle. We could potentially have this thing out. We're going to be running into conflicts with the martial power system, as well as rebuilding the color mana system, as well as finishing the Eberron adventure. So we're going to get bottlenecked again here. We got a lot of stuff that's getting out of the production pipeline into book building, and so we're going to have a pretty big flurry of activity. The Eberron book I'm hoping is going to be done in October, maybe November. And then we'll have December, January, February, March for us to probably punch this out first by maybe January. And then the Martial Powers book, we'll have that out hopefully by March. And then the Color Mana system will be finished by May. And then we'll have Warforged and Machines, as well as Living Ship Companions, September and November next year. Meanwhile, we should have the bandwidth throughout that time to rebuild the color mana system. We'll be playtesting the ability check system role-playing game that I've been developing with my home team throughout the year. So by the end of 2025, everything that I wanted to get done with Spelljammer and the Eberron adventure and the color mana system should all be done. And that will leave me only with just doing Spelljammer artwork and stuff on Mondays and Thursday nights like I do. And then the rest of my plate opens up for me to do the in command of squads and armies, in command of guilds and kingdoms, the ability check role-playing game, and then I can be, during all this time, feeding little pieces into my Patreon to use color mana system with, like a Boros Swiftblade subclass, or like a deep dive into Witherbloom or something like that. Whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling now. This has been more of an organization, planning, and tactical session. Not so much artwork. It turned out that we only needed like 5 minutes spent on the artwork and we were good. But next session, again, we're going to build all those hazards and we're going to build additional alternate maps. But it is 9:30 here in Seattle. It is time for me to start winding down so that I can be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for you guys tomorrow morning for the Eberron cartography that we're doing. So I'm going to crash out now. I'll catch you guys in about 9 hours. I hope you all have a great night. And Ralph, thanks for hanging out with me. Hey, what's up? Well, I'm out of here, my guy. So I really appreciate you. I'll catch whomever in the morning, and thanks a lot for being here. Later.